Victor here with yet another video, and we're going to focus on the grand gem right now in the gaming space. Made by a whopping 3 people. You know what I'm talking about, and of course it's already here on the footage. This is Hollow Knight Silksong. And with all the praise it's getting, only gamers that are a little too into companies that don't give a crap about us, or other publications, or AAA developers that can't understand what's happening. Basically, anybody that's insecure about the greatness that's happening right now from both a value and game content perspective is trying to find a way to spin the narrative where Team Cherry pricing Silksong at $20 is hurtful, right? And I get it. Some of the people speaking out are actual indie developers who not only are just indie developers, but specifically indie developers that are trying to make the same genre of game, that are trying to put out their own Metroidvania. Now, to that last specific group that I mentioned, I would say your feelings are very much valid. It would suck to have your work put out there and then feel like it's going to be devalued. However, that said, have we forgotten what else is out there? Have we forgotten that this isn't the first time that something like this takes place? Because also a pretty small game at the time, and cost even less money, provided this is a entirely different genre entirely. But a nice little game called Vampire Survivors came out. The game was $5. So a fourth of the price of Silksong. $5. And yet you have so many clones of it nowadays. Because whatever the Vampire Survivor genre is actually called at this point, I really don't know and couldn't tell you. I feel like depending on who you ask, you get a different answer. But that same genre of games, there's a ton of clones for them now. And a lot of them are more than $5. Now, of course, given how much time there's been in between, one could make the debate that people have evolved this formula over time, or inflation, or whatever you want to say, right? Things are priced higher. They still sell. So while the actual people putting the work in, I would say your feelings are valid. If you're not within that category, I'd say get a hold of yourselves and or pay attention to what's happening out here. Because while that is a potential negative implication, there is much more positive than negative to come from this. And of course, it's easy to point to the examples that already exist in the value perspective. Seen most recently earlier this year with Clair Obscur Expedition 33. And seen beforehand with Baldur's Gate 3. It's not rocket science. It's just Team Cherry is both an indie developer, and the game is priced very low. But I don't recall this kind of discourse when Vampire Survivors came out. And the people competing directly with that over time have been perfectly fine. And even though Vampire Survivors itself is, I think, at least a year or two old at this point, it's still relevant because, it wasn't that long ago that they put out the Castlevania DLC. So, it's still somewhat relevant, and people are still continuing to put out similar games and are doing just fine. So it seems like we're reaching to find a way to possibly say something negative about the game, knowing damn well that there are more positives than negatives. I just don't understand it. Like, we can't just enjoy something. And, you know, one could say that about the entirety of the internet, but, like, let us have this, you know? Let us have this. Unless, of course, you're already so far on the corporate bandwagon, there's no convincing you guys, right? You guys, whether it's gamers that are dedicated fanboys, like that, your company of choice can do no wrong whatsoever. Shills, company shills. That's what I was looking for. Used it before, couldn't think of the word on the spot here. And to date, there's going to be even more evidence when Metacritic / OpenCritic continue to put out praise to an overwhelming extent, where even people trying to potentially review bomb it probably have little to no effect. I mean, we're talking about a game that got to 500k concurrent viewers in Steam within hours. So, are we? Have we considered that maybe we're focusing on the wrong thing here? Have we considered making, I don't know, just a good and fun game? Have we considered make the same nonsense that you're putting out, but maybe lower the price? And the obvious answer to any of these questions is no. But the question presents itself as it always does when a AA studio, a indie studio, or quite frankly, even one of the very few AAA studios that put out a value project lays it all out on the table as if to make the statement, now what? This is another one of those moments. And in a pretty big way. Now what? So I want to reiterate once more, if you are an actual indie developer doing this, your feelings are valid. But alongside this, I would say, like, in a way, it's two different conversations. Because again, feelings are valid. So I can see that. But I feel like the bigger picture is sending that very strict message to AAA. And the message probably falls on deaf ears. We probably still, however long from now, get a potentially triple-digit game in the form of GTA 6. Right? We're probably not going to convince the Rockstars and the Activisions, and I'll even say Nintendo, because, like, they were the ones who pushed the envelope for the $10 more. And also pushed the envelope to sell previous generation games for more money than they were sold for previously, just because it's a new system. So yeah, in a lot of either direct or not so subtle ways, Nintendo's pushing that, right? The $80 price point, like, it's coming back. Some are pulling back from that, but it's coming back. Andor is here to stay. Or, you know, fast forward, inflation is inevitable as well, and even though the gaming space will continue to make more money upon more money upon more money, it is not going to be enough for these people. And we will eventually see triple-digit games that might just be the game itself without even getting into a having to get a deluxe edition. You know, just your plain plastic case with only the disc and maybe an insert if you're lucky. Right? Or in the case of Nintendo, not even that much. You get a game key card. Like, the whole shit's digital, like have a hunk of plastic, right? Not even a steelbook case for your triple digits. That's the territory we're going into. So regardless of the little small victory, which hopefully, you know, makes at least some people aware, like, hey, you know, maybe we'd even increase our sales. Maybe we'd actually, I don't know, crazy concept. We'd still make all the money. Like, keep that as your goal, but maybe take it, maybe experiment, right? Especially if you're someone like Sony or Square Enix specifically, that have had all these failed projects over the years, you know, maybe take a step back. Price something a little less and see what happens. Crazy concept, I know, but maybe consider that. This is the bigger picture and the much better message that Team Cherry is giving to the entirety of the gaming space right now. You have plenty of people that are willing to pay Team Cherry double, triple the price for the game. They're putting it out there. They are willing to throw cash at the screen, going more towards regular gaming prices. Fans were not expecting, after 8 years, only a $5 increase. They weren't expecting it. I feel bad. I want to double dip and or wish there was an official merch store I can give more of my money towards. Truly. But since you can't, and there's the $20, it sends a very clear neon green red signs that this is the way. Value over profits. And the profits will inevitably come. So, what few are going to listen to this? And then possibly we have the opposite effect, where, let's just, I don't know who's going to do it. Like, it's hard to even think about who might be willing to. But, you know, pretend that someone, one of the, Ubisoft, let's just name Ubisoft, right? It's never going to happen, but let's just pretend here, for the sake of the conversation. Ubisoft decides to pull it back a bit. You know, price something at $50. Expedition 33 price, right? Puts out a quality game. They are capable, every now and then. And then the rest of, say, like, the Activisions and, you know, the big three even, for the consoles, they look at this and it's like, oh shit. Maybe they're onto something. Maybe we should follow this. Maybe we should follow this lead. Just like Nintendo pushed the envelope for the $10 more, someone can push the envelope for the opposite direction. We only get that conversation started by continuing to, you know, there's months in between these moments where we can genuinely celebrate value of a game, quality, not quantity, and even price point / pro-consumer behavior. But if we do these things more often, then we can have better conversations. Maybe we can transform the space. And it's a wild goal that probably isn't going to happen. But it doesn't happen without someone making, even if it's unintentional, a very clear message in the right direction. This is one of those times. And in a way, I can't remember the last time we've seen something like this, if ever. Because, like, there's indie gems from back in the day, but, like, just the very specific case for Hollow Knight, where game takes 8 years to come out, only asks $5 more, and the reason for all the delays and the silence and the so on and so forth is literally they just were having fun, slowly but surely putting the game together. No drama to be found. They didn't give review copies to anybody. They were loyal to their backers, so they have the first experience. There was no pre-orders. All of this, like this unique storm of things to celebrate, we just haven't seen it before. I take back my statement. We legit just all these good things in one single package. We have not seen it. It just hasn't happened. It doesn't happen. If someone is watching / listening to this and can think of something, by all means, drop it in the comments. Or drop anything in the comments. I'd be willing to discuss this, because anyone trying to downplay this needs to take a good look in the mirror. Because there is so much more to celebrate than to not celebrate. And I would argue that all the negative points are going to very quickly go out the window. Because we've had similar instances where there's a competitor in the space and someone, just like someone can raise the price, someone can drop the price. But healthy competition still takes place and people still are willing to buy and take a chance on other things. Especially in the indie space. So, like, it just, the more, saying that makes me think it's even more ridiculous. Because people are, if for no other reason than you spend less money overall, people are much more willing to take a chance at something in the indie space than something in the AAA space. If you get burned in the indie space, you're spending 50% or more less than your average game title. It's a lot easier to, it's a much easier pill to swallow if you get burned on an indie game. And even then, from a morality standpoint, you support an indie developer. There are no cons to this. That's all I got. That's all I got. A lot of this is basically out there on YouTube already. I'm sure a lot of people have said the same points as I have. Just in different ways, which is also healthy competition, right? Even within the YouTube space. There is nothing wrong with healthy competition. What's not healthy is the way these people are reacting to something that has so much more reason to celebrate than the opposite. Take care, everybody. Catch you on the next one. If you are playing Silksong instead of watching this, I don't blame you. Maybe you're playing it alongside watching or listening to this. Maybe you're just trying to get to the end so you can go back to playing it. Or maybe you're not hearing this at all and it falls on deaf ears because you're already playing it. Which I might have said already. Regardless, there is so much to be happy about currently. So just do that. And if it isn't this, there are other rare examples. I just don't think there's going to be any this year that makes such a bold, unique combination of things to celebrate than what currently exists with Team Cherry and Hollow Knight. So give these 3 fine young lads, as I've said a few times on stream when I streamed it yesterday for release, your money. They deserve it. Take care, all.
Pina sans mi manicette, d'un affant sur le banc.